Okay, I consider this a difficult equation to solve, and the restriction does help somewhat. Right, so let's write this down. So I'm going to write down the cosine of twice an angle x, and that would be cosine squared x minus sine squared x. That can be written a little differently. The cosine of 2x can be written as 2 cosine squared x minus 1, or you could write it as 1 minus 2 sine squared x. All right, let me kind of move that around a little tiny bit, and I'm going to write this as 2 cosine squared x is going to be, let's see, 2 cosine squared x is going to be what? Cosine 2x plus 1. Well, that's not so difficult. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. You're going to get 4 cosine squared x equals 2 cosine 2x plus 2. Take the square root of both sides. And this is going to be okay if the angles are acute. And this angle's acute over here, so that's fine. So we get 2 cosine x would be the square root of, let's be careful, this is going to be 2 plus 2 cosine of 2x. Let me show you where that's written. That's written right over here. All right? That's an important fact. We're going to use that. And let's write another important fact down. And let's write that one down, and let's take a look. So the cosine of 2x is also equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared x. So I'm going to say 2 sine squared x is 1 minus cosine of 2x. Multiply both sides by 2. You get 4 sine squared 2 minus 2 cosine 2x. And again, for acute angles, this also works out pretty nice. This works out to be 2 sine x equals the root of 2 minus 2 cosine 2x. Let me show you where that's written. And this is an important fact we're going to use as well. So 2 sine x is this thing over here. All right? So first thing to notice is that the equation that you're given, this equation over here, sort of looks like that. And I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, and you get this over here. All right? So what I want to do is kind of look at this, and I'm going to start to erase things I don't need anymore. I don't need all this chicken scratch over here anymore. I don't need this anymore. I don't need to highlight this anymore. And I'm just concentrating on the equation, this over here, and this over here. And this is the tough part for me. I was looking at something and trying to rewrite it. So I'm going to say that 2 sine of x looks like, and let's see if we can do that. So 2 sine x looks like this. Right, I got this right over here. And then I'm looking at that 2 cosine 2x, and that looks like this thing over here. So let's write that down. So this looks like this down. All right? Now you notice what I'm doing each time I do that. Certainly when I did that, let me write this over here. So, I said that I said the 2 cosine of 2x. I have to use which formula? I'm using this one over here. And what's that going to be? The root of 2 plus 2 cosine of 4x. All right, so that stands to reason. And then I'm looking at that again. And let me get my eraser out, erase this over here. I'm seeing the 2 cosine of 4x. And again, I'm still using this guy over here. And what's that going to equal to? That would equal 2 plus 2 cosine of 8x. All right, let me show you where that's written. That's written right over here. right? So someone says, are you there? I am. So let me erase this over here. We've used everything we need, and we're where we want to be. All right, so let's just go through this one step at a time. I definitely have this. I got this big long root over here. I got the 2 here. Got the minus sign. I got another long root. I got the 2. I got the plus sign. I got another long root. I got 2, but here's my problem. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this, and they got to equate. So what am I saying? I'm saying the minus root 2 has got to be the same as 2 cosine of 8x. All right, so this is the stage we're at now. All right, so let's take a look at that, and let me show you where that is written over here. So again, 2 cosine of 8x has got to be the same thing as minus root 2. Again, I got to keep in mind my restrictions, because I'm really saying this really couldn't even be possible given my restrictions, because the cosine or sine is always going to be positive in this stage over here. But let's not worry about it too much. We'll go back and check. And I'm going to write this down for you. All right? So the cosine of 8x is going to be minus root 2 over 2. And I'm going to draw a picture of the cosine curve. Cosine curve, sort of looks like this over here. And, the minus root 2 over 2 is like this over here. It's a reference of a 45-degree angle. And that's going to occur in the, let's see, second and third quadrant. And I'll write the reference down for you. The reference is 45 degrees. And what's the angle going to be? Well, the angle in the second quadrant would be, I'm going to put the radian down. That would be 3 pi over 4. And the one in the third quadrant would be 5 pi over 4. All right, so let's write this down. It's going to be, let me go back to black ink. The 8x is going to be equal to 3 pi over 4 plus 2 pi k. 8x equals 5 pi over 4 plus 2 pi k. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to divide through by 8 on both sides, and you get x equals, that would be 3 pi over 32 plus, I'm dividing by 8, so that's going to be pi over 4, and I want that in terms of 30 seconds, so I'm going to say 8 pi over 32, okay? And the other one's going to be x equals 5 pi over 32 plus 8 pi over 32, okay? Let me show you these things are written. You got this one here. I think I do. Yep, I got this one, and I got this one over here. There's trouble, though, all right? And the trouble is I'm not considering the restriction at this point. So the restrictions, I want to go back to it, said that the angle has got to be on that interval. And that interval is going from 0 to pi over 8. Well, in terms of 30 seconds, that's 4 pi over 32. So there's only one answer that meets that criteria. Whoops, sorry about that. And the answer that meets that criteria is going to be from here, and that's going to be what? That's going to be 3 pi over 32, and that equals the number we're looking for. And that answer is written right over here. Now, I realize some students are wondering, what are the real answers to the question? There's an infinite number of those, all right? And what I claim over here is this here is certainly one of them, all right? Now, someone says, how'd you get this one over here? I kind of looked at the sine function. Looks like this over here. And what I said, it hits here, but it keeps repeating itself every 2 pi. But it also hits here. And what would that be? It would be pi minus 3 pi over 32. I'm trying to get the other answer, by the way. That would be 32 minus 3, which is 29 pi over 32. And again, it keeps repeating itself every 2 pi. So these are all answers, all answers, all answers. All right? They just asked for this, though. I consider this to be a difficult question. I consider it tough. It took me time to get through it. The problem with the toughness of it is the nesting of it. The nesting's tough. It always is. Thank you.